She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. I hope today that you and I are going to have such an awesome conversation that you decide to maybe make a little bit of a change. You may or may not fit into this category, but 51%, according to a Gallup poll, I thought they only did those for politics. Anyway, Gallup poll reported that 51% of the nation of the United States of America wants to lose weight. Adults, actually the adults, 51% of the adults in this country actually want to lose weight. I wonder what it is in Australia, Canada. Actually, Australia has reported serious obesity problems, although when I have visited there, I've seen a lot of skinny people, a lot of skinny white people, actually. Yeah. Blondes. Yeah. Maybe it's the places that I'm visiting. Yeah, there's a lot of Asians there too. Anyway, and Aboriginals who are beautiful. Anyway, but half of the adults in the nation say they want to lose weight, but only 25% of them are actually working towards that. Only half of the half. Kind of sad on that one. Yeah, and you know, so we're going to talk about health today. Yeah, it's going to be a show about health. And you're like, I don't want to talk about my health. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Because whether you know it or not, your health, how you treat your body, how you respect your body, has everything to do with your earning power in the marketplace, has everything to do with marriage and what your children see and habits they pick up from watching you. I came from a family of obesity, actually. My mom was 280 pounds at 5'5". Back when obesity was like, no one was obese, okay? Like nobody was obese when I was growing up. In my high school, everybody was like this, tiny, skinny, ribs hanging out, you know, arms that are like so scrawny, it looks like you could just grab someone's arm and go, click. Okay, this is the aerobics era with those stupid Reebok tennis shoes, the Reebok like high tops that were for aerobics, and they were white and all soft, and those socks that we used to push down on top of our Reeboks, and the leggings and the shirts that kind of hung off the shoulder, and don't forget the neon colors. Wait a minute, that's what people are wearing today. Ew. You might be going back to the 80s, but I ain't gonna. There ain't no way. Am I going back to those jeans that hug up near your belly button, right? They sit right underneath your rib cage. Not doing it. That make your backside look like it's 7 feet long. I'm not going there. Anyway, but back in those days, okay, I was in high school in the 80s. Everybody was really thin, just straight across the board. And it was the big aerobics area, the big workout, the big, you know, buff era where, you know, the bodybuilder thing, that bodybuilder movement really was on the rise, and chicks were starving themselves trying to be skinny. We weren't really focused on body fat or anything like that. But generally in my high school, there was only one girl that was a little overweight. She wasn't obese by any stretch. And that was my best girlfriend. She was my only friend who ignored me when we went to that public school. But you know, there were lots of kids at this particular school, and yeah, everybody was really tiny. But today it's very different. Today we see an opposite trend where most people in our country, and depending on what state, you know, I travel all over the United States and I travel all over the world. But okay, now listen, I came from an obese family. Okay, let me just stop right there. Both my sisters were 300 pounds. All right, one of my sisters was 5'10", another one of my sisters 6 foot tall, but 300 pounds at 16, 17, 18 years old, 20. My youngest sister died when she was 21 doing a drug run for my parents. She wasn't 300 pounds when she died because they were doing crystal meth at that time, shooting it in their arms. So they were, you know, kind of, you know, you've seen that. I grew up around that stuff. But anyway, so I had a major fear of being overweight. And from 18 to 22, I was 50 pounds overweight 4 times. So I was 180 pounds. I came to 180 pounds. No, it wasn't 300, but I was heading in that direction, no question. And especially when I was homeless. When I was homeless, I was 50 pounds overweight. I remember looking at that scale at 180 going, oh, I'm heading in the wrong direction, and I could not control myself. And my problem was, well, I was an emotional eater. And if I was happy, I ate. And if I was sad, I ate. So if I was mad, I ate. Whatever emotion that I was having, food was my drug, you know. And I used to go, well, you know, I don't do drugs like my parents do. You know, I'm not snorting lines. I'm not smoking weed like my parents and my sisters do, you know. So no, but my drug was Haagen-Dazs vanilla fudge ice cream. I can't find that anymore. Thank God. Anyway, I don't look for it. You know, I haven't looked for it in years. But anyway, the one time that I did, okay, it's vanilla ice, and vanilla Haagen-Dazs is like the best, okay? And then it's fudge, so it's like fudge swirled into that thing. Whoa. Anyway, so I would when I was homeless, and I had gotten a job as a cocktail waitress, you know, I'd get off work at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would slam many drinks using my tips like a fool. You know, instead of using my tips to save money to get an apartment so I wasn't homeless anymore, I used my tips to drown my sorrows with the bartender, and I'd have like 5 or 6 B-52s or White Russians. We're talking so filled with sugar and calories like crazy. And then on my way home, I would grab, not home, but on my way to wherever it was that I was sleeping that night, I would stop by, you know, a gas station, and I'd get myself vanilla Haagen-Dazs ice cream, vanilla fudge ice cream, and 2 candy bars, a Milky Way Dark and a Bounty bar. Have you ever had a Bounty bar? They make Mounds bars look like, they make the Mounds bar look, no, fresh, beautiful. I can't even believe I'm talking about this right. Come on, I'm supposed to try to help speak into us getting serious about not being 300 pounds or being 200 pounds or not being 180 pounds when we're 5 foot nothing. Okay, I know I'm not doing a very good job of it, am I? Anyway, but I was 50 pounds overweight 4 times in my life. I was. And I was terrified of being 300 pounds. Absolutely terrified. In between my times of being 50 pounds overweight, the weight loss strategy that I used was starving myself. Yeah. So I would go from gaining 50 pounds, right, to, wow, now I'm going to starve myself. And I would eat an apple every 3 days, or I'd have a half a tuna sandwich every 3 days. I wasn't a soda person back then anyway, but I wouldn't drink things like juice or anything. I just never liked that kind of stuff in my mouth. I've always been a water drinker, or milk. Ugh, milk is nasty, unless, of course, you got Oreos. I'm not helping, am I? And I don't eat that stuff all the time. I promise. I did on vacation. It was a very bad idea. I came back with a belly. Hopefully the belly disappears before I have to put myself on a stage somewhere where someone's going to see it. Anyway, so back to this. We have a problem for weight in our country today. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that? And here's what it is. To me, the problem that we're having with weight, and I know this from traveling around the world. You see, when I go and speak in Europe, or Russia, or Latvia, or Finland, when I speak abroad in Europe, especially Europe, the chairs are smaller, and the chairs are closer together whenever the hotels or the churches are set up. Everything is set really tightly together. And when I'm sitting speaking to that crowd, I pretty much know who the Americans are who came over, because they're generally the only ones that are overweight. But the people in Europe, they're not. Just generally, you walk around Europe and everybody is very petite. The men and the women are just, they look like we did back in the 80s. Honestly, they look like how Americans looked back in the 80s. And so I also noticed that through different states, so it's not only just country-wise, but even in different states. In this country, state of Washington, wow. I mean, it's wow. And we go there almost once a year because we have family all over the state of Washington. And it just seems like there's certain parts of the country where, wow, or even certain cities, like Los Angeles, for example, in general. No, let's say Santa Barbara. I remember going to a church in Santa Barbara one time visiting while I was down there visiting family, and I couldn't believe it. It's a huge church, but most everybody looked like Barbie. They did. Everyone had a nice tan. Everyone had blonde hair. Everybody was super petite, showing off every part of their body that they could without being totally pornographic. Yeah, at church. Yes, I said that. Okay, so like short skirts and little crop tops and, cleavage hanging out at a church, a Calvary Chapel church, in fact, in Santa Barbara. And that was generally, I was like, man, everybody is beautiful. Is it, this is the models only or the actresses only church? But you don't see that in, a tiny little town that I lived in. in California up in the mountains. Like, no, you know, you kind of need to nudge the women to grab the hairs out of their chin, like I did this morning. The camera we use is way too clean. It shows way too much. But yeah, you know, so, you know, the church where I came from, where I lived in California, it's like, do you not see the beard, honey? Yeah, you must be going through the change of life. You might want to take care of that beard under there. You just got to get a mirror and just make sure that there's no whiskers underneath here, and especially right here. You know, I remember my aunt, one of my aunts, gorgeous woman, 5'5", beautifully built. And she had this gigantic mole right here, and she'd let this big old long hair stick out of it. You know, kind of like I remember, like, you know, seeing some cartoon with, you know, a mole and a witch, and here's the hair hanging out of it. Big old black curly hair hanging out. I was like, how does she not see that? Anyway, I don't know how I got there on my chin hairs or my mole hairs, because I got the same 3 moles that my aunt had. And yes, I have to pull things out of it. But anyway, image, okay? We live in this culture that is filled with cravings, excess. I want access, which is making us fat, access that is putting us on medication for high blood pressure, antidepressants. The list goes on of all the medications that so many people take every day because we have access to everything and more than we ever even could ever imagine. So let's solve this today. What kind of cravings do you have? What is your health goal? Where do you want to go? And I'm not talking about becoming a health nut, because I ain't one of them, okay? I'm not. I'm going to tell you what I've done to be able to maintain my weight for all of these years, okay? I've had 4 or 5 kids I've given birth to. 5 people, and I've managed to stay a size 6, okay, since I was 22, after I lost that last 50 pounds, and I did a certain system to lose that 50 pounds, but how I've maintained keeping my weight down to smaller than I was in high school after I've had all these kids, and even now, because people say, oh, you know, wait till you get to your 30s, Dani, it's not as easy. You must have a fast metabolism. It must be in your family. I can't tell you how many excuses people use to say, well, you know, it must be your metabolism. Okay, so like I came from an obese family? Really? Oh, you must come from skinny. I came from obesity. Shush. Shush. And I was 50 pounds overweight 4 times. I had a serious weight problem. Serious weight problem. Actually, it wasn't a weight problem. It was a head problem. It was a head and heart problem. So let's discuss your health goals, challenges you have achieving them, and maybe we can help each other today get a little more serious about our lives. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
It's time to take on a whole new mindset. Stay right here for more of the Dani Johnson Show.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
More resources, more training, more results. The DaniJohnson.com Insider Membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DaniJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
And now, back to more of the Dani Johnson Show.
Convenience is killing us. It is. Do you hear me? It's convenience and options and access. It's grown our waistlines. Did you ever imagine that we would be seeing triple X's in stores for clothing? I never imagined that we'd be seeing that. Some states around the United States of America, it's a very common size. Very common size. I was pretty blown away when we moved to Texas. I thought that where we lived in California, people were quite overweight. And mind you, I came from a family of obesity, and I once was 50 pounds overweight 3 times in my life. So I'm not coming from the place of, oh, judgment on this skinny chick. No, I have to be disciplined to maintain this. No, I don't go to the gym. No, I don't work out, other than the old biblical way of working out as a married person. Do 2 + 2, please, and figure out what I'm saying. Anyway, and I choose to put in my body things that don't have GMOs in them. Once in a while, I'll have some Oreos. Once in a great, versus before, it was like eat the whole bag of Oreos, and I did that day after day after day after day. Okay? Eat a whole pint of ice cream, whereas I might have ice cream once every few months. Like, it might be every 4 or 5 months, to be honest with you. My habits that caused my body to crave more, that made me fatter, I've had to change that. But I was really blown away when I moved to Texas. I was like, wow, beautiful, beautiful people, gorgeous, smart, intelligent, gracious, hospitable, nice, wonderful people. But I was really floored to see, like, wow, people in general are larger here in Texas than they actually were in California, and they were quite large in California. Go to the state of Washington. Woo-hoo. Wow. Yeah. State of Washington, there are women that you don't know if they're women. I'm not kidding you, because they got beards and they're losing their hair. Seriously. We're talking about we've become a people that aren't taking care of ourselves. We're not. And our children are watching. And we're teaching our kids how to have no self-control. We're teaching our kids how to be unhealthy. We're teaching our kids to succumb to what is convenient and having access to things that are killing us. Come on, there are kids with diabetes because mom and dad don't care about the food they're putting in the kid's mouth. This stuff has to stop. It does. So what are your weight loss challenges? What are they? How are you handling them? You need help today, 844-200-3264. I'm certainly not a health expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I've had 5 children. I used to be 50 pounds overweight. I've maintained my weight since I was 22. That's 20, oh my gosh. It's a long time ago. 2 decades, I'll just say that, okay? It's been 2 decades since I've had a weight loss problem. I've not been 50 pounds overweight for 2 decades. And I haven't done it through using weight loss systems. I've done it just through food and exercising the muscle of self-control instead of letting cravings lead my life. So, and by the way, my financial strategies actually help me to maintain my weight. Feeding my family on $100 a week, gourmet food, keeps me thin. Cooking keeps me thin. No joke. I'm not kidding you. It burns calories to cook dinner, and it burns calories to clean dinner. Anyway, we're going to the phones. Okay, I got Amber on line 5 from Indiana. Hi, Amber. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, thank you.
Yeah, so what have you got to say about weight loss?
Well, basically, I'm weighing in at about 186 pounds right now.
It's right about where I was.
I've never really had an issue with my weight until about 4 years ago, and I really want to get down to around 140 to 150 for my wedding next year.
Oh.
But the problem is that I love food, like the greasy, fattening pasta kind, and I only like water if it's in my coffee, and I hate cooking. It's been a real struggle for me. Like, I've done the clean eating thing, and I last about a month, and then I totally fall off track. I just can't seem to stick with anything.
Okay. Amber, you're so cute. Now, here's what I want to do, okay? I want to point something out to you. Okay. Number 1, you have a very important deadline. You're getting married next year, right? And if there's ever time to have motivation, now's the time, right?
Yeah.
But you're kind of wavering on your commitment of this motivation of losing weight before your wedding.
I have a hard time.
But don't you give me the excuse. The answer is yes, I am wavering on my commitment to fit into that beautiful size 6 for my wedding dress.
You got it.
Okay, that's the bottom line. There's no buts. There's no justifications. Here's the facts. Yes, I'm lazy. I'm not committed. Okay, now, let's fast forward. You see, Amber, let me paint this picture. When we are dating and we are engaged, we're actually on our best behavior. we're the most committed to looking our best. Guess what happens after people get married?
Oh, boy.
So the 40 pounds that you have on you right now, the 40 pounds that you want to lose right now, 46 pounds actually, I think is what you said. That's going to double after you get married.
That's not okay.
It's the facts. It's the facts.
Yeah.
It's the statistics. It's no joke. Right now, you really care about impressing this man that you're going to marry. And unfortunately, most women, after they get married, the messy bun goes now on top of their hair. They don't wash their hair gets greasy. They don't wear makeup anymore. They wear saggy sweats and a ball cap sometimes. They just let themselves go. You've seen them, haven't you? Yeah, they got the bumper sticker on the back of their car that says soccer mom.
Yeah, I'm kind of that girl already.
Amber.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Amber, this is when 46 pounds turns into 100 pounds overweight and 200 pounds overweight. So you kind of need to get serious here, young lady.
Yes, you're right.
Is that where you want to go?
Absolutely not.
So here's the next question. Is it worth it? So you say that you eat clean for 30 days. What happens? What does your body do when you eat clean?
I feel amazing.
Yeah.
And I dropped some weight, and then it's like, hey, let's have pizza one night, and that one night of pizza turns into me completely falling off the wagon.
Okay, so let me help you with this, because that used to be me too. Eating clean for 30 days when you love dirty food. Like I do, Amber. I love dirty food, okay? You're preaching to the choir here, honey. I'm a dirty food girl. Fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and gravy. My mashed potatoes are so filled with butter, they are yellow. Yellow, did you hear me? I have yellow, they're not Yukon Golds. I have yellow mashed potatoes because I had so much butter inside them mashed potatoes. 3 sticks of butter for 3 pounds of potatoes. That's my ratio. 3 pounds of potatoes, 3 sticks of butter, sometimes 4. Anyway, and then you got to have the corn buttered, right? And when I make my buttered corn, after the corn goes in the fridge with the leftovers for my lunch tomorrow, it's all stuck together because there's so much butter in the corn. And then, of course, I saute my green beans and garlic and, do you know what the next word is?
Butter.
Butter. I understand completely what you're saying. Chicken, fried steak, all the same deal right there. Fried chicken. Oh my gosh. I gotta stop talking about it. I just got chills all over my whole body. Okay? I understand. All the cheese is in my pasta, right? I got you. I'm feeling you, girl. I'm absolutely feeling you, girl. But at the same time, I have to be wise. And if I ate that way 3 times a day, I'd be 250 pounds, maybe 300. So I choose to use things in moderation. I don't eat fried chicken every week. I don't have chicken fried steak every week. I'll share with you what I do, and you're going to lose weight doing the same thing. We'll continue with more after this.
Stay right here for more of The Dani Johnson Show.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
Prior to plugging into First Steps to Success, I was a depressed, hopeless, suicidal drug addict. I had no vision for my life. I absolutely hated people, hated myself. I felt shackled by my debt, and I had toxic relationships. Since plugging in, I've been drug-free for almost 18 months. I paid off nearly $14,000 worth of debt in 14 months. I have completely restored my relationship relationships with my friends and my family. I have a vision for my life now, and I'm actually live and not exist anymore. So I don't know if you have debt or not, or if your life's going perfectly the way you want it to go. But if not, I highly recommend you get registered today for the next first steps to success.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, we were just lost. We had no hope and light at the end of the tunnel, and we were drowning in debt. After coming to First Steps to Success and plugging into DaniJohnson.com, our income has doubled. We have paid off over $76,000 of debt in just 45 months. My husband and my communication skills have just raised us through the roof, and my husband has cut back his hours, making more income. If you want results like these, you better get to First Steps to Success.
I have been plugging into Dani Johnson for the last 8 years, believe it or not. And people say, why so long? Well, because there's a lot to do in life, and it has changed every area of my life. My business has exploded, my spiritual life has been unmatched, and my relationship with my wife and my family has just been fantastic. We've paid off over $200,000 of debt in just 2 years. We're debt-free, and I just could not be happier. But if you want to change any area of your life, whether it's your business, your marriage, your relationship with your kids, your financial situation, or getting out of debt, or your spiritual life, I would tell you, you cannot afford to miss First Steps to Success. It has just been a blessing to me and my family. So I really invite you to just get online and get your ticket to the next First Steps to Success. Thank you very much.
It's time for a checkup from the neck up. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Yes, sometimes I'm a pig. What about you? I love food. I really do. It's a terrible thing to say it like that, doesn't it? It kind of makes me sound like I idolize food, but I really enjoy food a lot. I find great pleasure in food. I'm a gourmet cook. Yeah, and I can cook, I think it's 12 or 13 now, different cuisines from around the world. As I've traveled around the world, I've learned different spices and different recipes. I often take a cooking class. When I went to Greece, I took a cooking class. When I went to Italy, I took a cooking class. Their stuff wasn't that good in Italy. I was quite surprised. But in Turkey, I took a cooking class. Oh, Turkish food is so good. You should see what they do with vegetables. It's nuts what they do with vegetables. They can make a whole meal just out of vegetables. So yummy, so rich in spices. Anyway, I used to be 50 pounds overweight. For the last 23 years, yeah, because I'm 45 years old now, awesome. I've managed to maintain my weight by simply food choices, not being a weirdo foodie, you know, not being one of those, I can't have that, there's fat in there. I eat lots of fat, butter fat, and I eat a lot of olive oil and a lot of coconut oil, but a lot of butter, a lot. Did I say a lot? A lot of butter. Yes. But anyway, are you ready? I'm going to tell you, I've got Amber on the phone. She wants to lose 46 pounds before she gets married, and I just finished giving her the picture. She's like, I really need to lose 46 pounds before my wedding, but is the biggest liar. But I really like my fried foods. Okay, so you were saying that eating clean for 30 days, you lose weight, you feel good, and then you go to pizza. I'm gonna tell you about a book I found. 10, 14 years ago, Suzanne Summers. Suzanne Summers wrote a book. I can't remember the name of the book. Was it Eat, Cheat, and Melt the Fat Away? I can't remember what it was. But anyway, she had encountered a really cool way of eating that I tested out. And wow, I trimmed right down really quickly. 17 pounds overnight. And again, I'm one of those people that I can be in the same size for 20 pounds. Meaning, if I'm 145, I still wear a 6. If I'm 125, I'm still a 6. I don't drop down into a 4. So I can pretty much play. So I choose not to play with 20 pounds. I choose to play with 5 pounds. So once if I start to go up 5 pounds, then I'm like, whoops, hold it, friend. It's time to eat some veggies. It's time to get a little serious, you know? So it's just a few days it takes to drop 5 pounds. And then to maintain it, you just do good for a while. But one of the things I picked up in her book that was really, really powerful was if you mess up, when you mess up. Remember you were saying I eat clean for 30 days and then, let's have pizza. And then it's like, forget it. I'm just going to eat everything bad now. The one tip I got from her book that was so powerful is when you screw up, when you cheat, when you have that moment of weakness and you eat the pizza, the very next meal, get back on track. I was like, that's brilliant. Because, Amber, what do? Oh, I'll start again on Monday. And it's Tuesday. So we spend that next 6 days going hog wild, right? Versus, wait a minute, just the next meal, get back on track, right? So then what that mindset did is it helped me to realize, hey, then on my date nights, I'm going to have a beer. Or two. And I'm going to eat those 6 tacos and them rice and beans and the chips and salsa. Wait, bring me some nachos too. But the next morning, I ate good. I'd have my fruit for breakfast. Just, fresh whole fruit, an apple or an orange. I'm not a big breakfast person, but I forced myself to do something for breakfast. And then lunch, it was like, okay, I'm going to focus on, all right, so I'm going to have, something all protein for lunch. And then, in the afternoon, 2.5 hours later, I might have another apple because it only takes, by the way, it only takes 20 minutes for fruit to digest on an empty stomach. And it never processes as a sugar unless you have a banana. Banana's too starchy. But you can have an apple, an orange, grapes, strawberries, any kind of berries. I eat all kinds of tropical fruits other than bananas because they're very starchy and very high in calorie. So, but all those other fruits, the non-starchy fruits, you'll digest them in 20 minutes. But it gives your body the sugar, the sugar craving rush. It kills it right away as long as you're on an empty stomach, which is 2.5 hours. That's it. So if I had all protein for lunch and then I would have 2.5 hours later, I'd have another piece of fruit to kill the sugar craving, or I'd open a can of olives and eat them. So anyway, those were a couple of tips that I gathered from her book, and man, it really has worked, and I've kind of stuck to that kind of a thing throughout the years. So if I do really bad, then the next few meals I'm going to do really good, and then I do really bad, and then the next few meals I do really good. Does that make sense? But I don't allow myself to gain 20 pounds because I could easily gain 20 pounds. I can gain 10 pounds in a weekend like that. Not a problem. All right. So does that help, honey?
Yeah. It sounds so simple.
It is simple.
Really.
So when you have the pizza, it's okay. Don't be guilty. Don't feel bad. It's like, okay, tomorrow I'm, or the next meal. Because if it was pizza for breakfast, then okay, lunch, I'm going to do good. And it's okay. It's no big deal. Have some grace. And then you'll start to trim yourself down. All right, cool. Yay! I want to see you in your size 6 or whatever that, it should be a size 6 or an 8 at 140 pounds in that wedding dress. Do you hear me? I want pictures.
That sounds good.
And you can use that same system for the rest of your life, even after you have kids. It works. It just works. Gotcha. All right. Thanks so much for the call. Thanks for being a faithful listener to the Dani Johnson Show. Okay, next caller. I'm going to go up to Wisconsin with Kim. Kim, what is your weakness with losing weight?
I need to eat healthier. I'm nursing my child number 5, who's 3.5 weeks old. Oh. And I crave sweet, like something crazy. Mm-hmm. I also realized I need to cut out dairy because I think my baby gets upset tummy from it. But I'm craving that too.
Okay. All right. So, number 1, mommy, baby number 5, week number 3. Will you please chill out a little bit? Seriously. You just had a baby. You're nursing, which means that you're going to trim back faster than the women that don't nurse. And you need to listen to your body. But let me help you with the sugar cravings because your baby does not need the sugar, the bad sugar. Do you understand? The baby needs good sugar. Your body needs the good sugar. It's part of what will keep your energy up. Yeah, so the bad sugar, artificial sugar, none of that stuff is good for you. And whatever you do, do not eat Splenda. Do not eat any of those artificial sweeteners. They have things in them that are going to rot holes in your brain and rot holes in your child's brain that you're nursing. So none of those artificial sweeteners. They're horrible for your body. And they create an addiction with your body. Okay, so do not do that. However, you'd be amazed. Now listen, a craving is like a call. It's like calling your name, okay? It's like this voice that is talking to you, kind of like fear. You know how fear will talk to you, but fear actually isn't real? It's not. There's no evidence of it being real at all. It's just a fake voice trying to get you to agree to be afraid. Cravings are the same exact way. They are the same exact way. So cravings, and therefore what I've learned to do is to not listen to the craving. Just know that's just, come on, are there people in your life you don't listen to? And all you hear them say is just like that old cartoon, Charlie Brown, whenever an adult was starting to talk, wah, 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 wah. So that's kind of how I deal with cravings. And if it is a sugar craving, right, and it's like, oh, I want some ice cream, all right, which that could come up, every day. Then what it is, if you just put anything in your mouth other than that sugar, then that voice shuts up. That's it. That's how simple it is. So literally, my friend, that if you are craving sugar, then stick an apple in your mouth. Just a clean apple, just bam, start chewing on it, and the craving shuts up. Even though the craving is saying, Oreos, Twix bars, Buttercups, give it to me now, caramel popcorn. Yeah, even though that's what the craving is saying, you need to listen to your body and give it good sugar. And as soon as the good sugar goes in your mouth, as soon as you eat that orange or those grapes or those strawberries, it goes away instantly. Man, I'm telling you, it really works. I used to be the person that was completely led by my cravings. But once I learned that that was nothing but a deceitful voice and they were deceiving what I really needed, which was actually my blood sugars are down and I need to adjust that, have a piece of fruit. And then it would be gone, okay? Or even shove some almonds in your mouth. The craving goes away. So if you put something healthy in your mouth, the craving shuts up, okay? So that's one thing that you can do. All right, I've got Alicia from California. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. How can I help you today with your weight loss, goal, needs, whatever?
Hot mess is my title.
I love that phrase.
Yeah, give it all to you. I'm a single mom of 3 kids, and I went through a horrible divorce for someone who cheated and was addicted to meth, and it was just all bad.
Oh, mommy.
I am. Yeah, it's been 3 years since I've been in the health and nutrition field. I'm sitting at 190 pounds. My son had a tumor from a vaccination. So I did the whole Gerson. I've been certified. I help other cancer patients. I've done the vegan, the juicing, the whole foods. There's nothing processed in my house. I go closest to the source, everything from scratch. I've gone to doctors. I've had everything tested. I've done every diet there is, including injections. The doctors can't tell me other than when I go to my holistic doctors, they tell me it's all emotional.
Yep.
And that I have a fear of intimacy and that I don't want any kind of positive attention in that area of my life. So therefore, so every time I lose 20 pounds or release 20 pounds and someone makes a comment, you look great. What are you doing? Something's changing. I promise you within 2 weeks, it goes right back up. And I have my fitness pal that's tracked my weight over the last 3 years, and it looks like someone on a deathbed. It's gone up and down, and then it flatlined for a really long time, and then up. And so I took a snapshot of that, and it was just really screaming at me that something's got to change, and I don't know what to do.
I'm going to ask you a question. Were you molested as a child?
My father,
it's yes or no.
He's a child molester. He's a child molester, and he molested my entire family. My mom was pregnant with me when she found out and left him, but I have a memory. I was never allowed to go with him. He had a court order. I was never allowed to go with him alone in a room, and he wanted to pray because he used that as his tool. Jesus. And I remember I was 5 years old for him to pray with me, and I was very loud and said, Mom said no, and the memory stops.
Wow. Okay, hold on, Alicia. You've blocked it out. We're going to continue with the connection between being molested as a child, and weight loss right after this.
Don't go away. The next segment might just change your life. Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you.
My name is Chelsea Drinkard. I am 25 years old and from Tampa, Florida. And like most college students, I was a recent college graduate, got my first big corporate America job that we were told we were supposed to do. But I had a problem. Within the first couple weeks, I found myself crying every single day after work. I thought I was going to get fired. I was on a path to financial destruction, and I had no idea how to communicate with my family or my boss. Within the very first 6 months of plugging into DaniJohnson.com, War on Debt, and First Steps to Success, I annihilated $2,500. And, weird pause. I also increased my value so much by applying First Steps to Success and what you're about to learn right now, gems, that I was offered a promotion, and I received a 10% increase in my pay. When I did decide to leave, the business, I became so valuable. The CEO pulled me aside into his office for a private one-on-one meeting, asking me what they could do to keep me. Not only that, since then, I've just started through War on Debt. I'm hosting War on Debt weekly classes. I'm facilitating War on Debt webinars. I'm living life by design, not by default, like the rest of my other friends who are stuck in debt in their 20s. And not only that, I'm going to Thailand for the 3rd time this November. I'm working with women and children rescued from the sex trafficking. So I don't know about you, but all I know is if you want to have better relationships with your friends and family, you want to increase your value at your work, you want to expand and grow your business, get more done in less time, I urge you, sit on your seats, pull out your pen and paper, turn off your phone, lean forward and hold on to every single word that Dani says, because this will change your life.
Now, more of the Dani Johnson Show.
A father who molests his entire family. Crazy, isn't it? Unthinkable, but it happens. It does. And is there a connection to kids who have been molested, to them having problems with intimacy and feeling worthless, dirty, yucky, and therefore packing on weight for personal protection? Alicia's joining me from California. She just finished telling us this gut-wrenching story. Alicia, I've worked with hundreds of thousands of people. And the reason why I asked you that question is because everything you just shared with me about your health and about your body, because you eat everything clean, you do everything right, but your body will not release the weight. As soon as you do release the weight and someone starts to encourage you, you reject it and you put the weight back on again. And again, you're eating the same way, right? You're eating the same clean food.
Right.
Isn't that wild? So I've seen this many times, many times. What I've also seen is that when someone's been delivered from that spirit of perversion and they have forgiven their perpetrator, because watch, okay, you said that memory ends. You weren't sure if you were molested. I would say there's probably a good chance that you were molested.
Right.
And here's what I've watched. When I've walked people through, kids who've been molested or who are now adults like you and me, as they have forgiven their perpetrator and they've gone through inner healing for their perpetrator, they accidentally lost weight. I have a gal that lost 50 pounds out of nowhere. Just out of nowhere. And she didn't know why. She didn't change anything she was eating, but I can tell. I said, when did you start losing weight? And bam, we can mark the day. It's when you got healed. It's when you got delivered from all the bitterness, all the resentment, all the pain from when you were molested. Yours is compounded. It's shame. It's shame, not just for what happened to you, but what happened for your whole family. It's shame about who your father was. And so you keep people at an arm's distance. You don't let them all the way in. And you do the same thing with your God. You keep him outside of you instead of inside of you. So you feel unworthy, Alicia. You feel ugly. You feel like there's something wrong with you. You feel like you're dirty. And I got to hand it to you. Look at your commitment to your family. And it's probably what helped to destroy the marriage that has now made you a single mom. Because as soon as you got married, it was like, psh, pull back, pull back. And unfortunately, what we do, Alicia, when we've been molested, we've been rejected, we come from this divorced family thing and all this stuff that goes on, all that drama that's around us that makes us feel like, I wish I was never born. Why did I have to be born into this family? Why is my father disgusting? I must be disgusting. I must be unlovable. When we bring that into a marriage, we act that way in the marriage. And we don't trust the spouse. And we talk to the spouse like we don't trust the spouse. And we just know he's going to cheat. We just know he's going to screw us over. And that's what he does. That was my first marriage. It lasted just a few months. Cheated on me twice. Cheated on me 30 days after I was married, and then in the last month. And it took off with this other woman, living with her in Japan while I'm stuck in Hawaii, homeless, with $2.03 to my name. So Alicia, this is it, girlfriend. This is the answer. And I think it's amazing that your holistic health professionals found it. And I am confirming it right now. As you can go ahead and work out till the cows come in. You can go ahead and eat clean till the cows come in until you decide to be healed for this wound that's through your bloodline. Do you understand? You have got to cut the ties of what your father did. I guarantee you that man was molested too. Guarantee you. He was molested as a child. That's where he learned to do it from. That's where that spirit of perversion entered him, and he cannot control himself. That's where that came from.
My sister's about 300 pounds, and she was the one that was violated. The family found out about, and she was 100 pounds on her wedding day.
Yeah. And
she's been, as soon as she had her first baby, for the last 24 years, she's been between 275 to 300 pounds.
Yeah. I promise you, it's all tied to that. It's 100% tied to that. So forgiveness is in order, and allow the Lord to heal you and allow him to come into those inner deepest parts of your heart and start to build intimacy with him. Start to build intimacy with him. He is trustworthy, Alicia, I promise. I've been through what you're going through right now. I've been there. But it's amazing. When I forgave my molesters, there were 3 of them, I lost weight. Strangest thing ever. This is Dani Johnson. We're going to continue with more right after this.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
More resources, more training, more results. The DaniJohnson.com Insider Membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DaniJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
Change your habits, change your future. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
You got to plan ahead. That's something I found in my journey, right? People would always say, well, you know, of course, you know, you must have a fast metabolism. No, I actually choose to feed my metabolism. And I choose that 80% of the time I choose to eat healthy, and 20% of the time I choose to splurge a little bit, give myself a little bit of grace. And 90% of the time I only eat that which is non-GMO, and 10% of the time I might go towards GMO, okay? 10% of the time. Sometimes it's less than that, and other times, you know, it kind of goes like this. You know what I mean? So, but generally, that's kind of my rule of thumb. It's not 100% of this and 100% of that. No, thank you. That's crazy. You're being controlled by food. It's totally nuts. I'd rather be free. You know what I'm saying? But planning ahead is really important. And so, for example, when I leave in the morning, and my morning is fruit, you know, so like I'll take a big old papaya, cheap pineapples, only when I can get them on sale. Cut it all up, throw it in the freezer in individual, like smaller containers. Set it out on the counter as I wake up in the morning, let it thaw, just a little bit of it thaw out for a little bit, throw it in a blender with some water, bam, there's breakfast. It only takes 20 minutes for that fruit to digest. Now, if fruit is not enough for you, then go ahead and have something 20 minutes later, but you'll find that your sugar cravings, they're gone, and you've already started and activated your metabolism. People who skip breakfast will always be heavier than those that don't. So then, if you want to have like all protein for, you know, I don't want to say bacon and eggs, but eggs with a bunch of veggies in it, go for it. You know, if you need more in the morning. I found that I'm the one that used to skip breakfast. So I started eating breakfast, and I always plan ahead. Lunch today is vegetables from my garden, green beans and zucchini, just raw. It's good. It's better than getting hungry, craving, and going, Taco Bell is calling my name. First of all, that's a stupid financial choice. Second of all, it's a bad health choice. Third of all, it's really bad for the clothes that you have in your closet that you will not fit into if you continue to drive through. Do you understand? So you got to check your habits. Are your habits consisting of Starbucks? You're going to get fat drinking Starbucks. Or if you already are overweight, you're going to stay overweight drinking Starbucks. Are you driving through places? You're going to stay heavy. So I plan ahead. I have food in my purse to sustain me. And then if I'm hungry when I get home from work that day, I always have something quick to grab, whether it's nuts or it's fruit or it's a can of olives. Whether they're Greek olives or regular black olives, and sometimes I'll put the olives in my mouth as I'm cooking because it calms me down and takes care of the, I gotta eat. Or yesterday I went home and I made popcorn at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yep. I sat on my bed. Everyone's gone. No one's in the house right now. My husband's on a big camping trip. I just ate a whole bowl of popcorn. It was so good. Yep, I did. Yep, with coconut oil. So yummy. So it's about moderation. It's about 80% of my time I'm going to eat pretty good. And 20% of the time, okay, I'm going to have popcorn. That's what I'm going to do. That's like my, I got to have that. Okay, or, you know, let's say this. If 100% of the time right now you're screwing up, then 50% of the time, screw up, and 50% of the time, eat healthy. When people try to go this whole cold turkey thing, I think a lot of times they're setting themselves up for failure. So just change small little things, and you'll notice that you'll start to lose weight right away. All right, now I'm going to switch gears because I had a precious caller earlier today. Her name is Alicia, and she shared something very intimate that she wasn't planning on sharing. I appreciated her honesty with what she shared. But she's a single mom of 3 children, one of which who battled a horrifying health issue. Really, really sad, had a tumor due to being immunized. We should do a show on immunization. I've done one before, but I think it's time to bring that puppy up again. I'm sure that Alicia has a different view on immunizations right now. But anyway, her son contracted cancer because of an immunization, and now she's a health freak, but she's 190 pounds and her body will not release the weight, and we found the root of the issue. Alicia, I'm bringing you back on the line. I'm so glad that you stayed on the line because I actually want to pray with you.
Well, my 3-year-old has no vaccinations whatsoever.
Yep.
So, yes, I'd love to join that show.
Yeah. Yeah, my grandchildren have never been vaccinated. Yeah. They haven't. My first granddaughter, when she had her second vaccination, she had to be rushed to the hospital. She couldn't breathe. It was amazing. Yeah. And so then my daughter didn't know that it was that. So the next time she got vaccinated, same thing happened. And my daughter went, no more. So none of my 5 grandchildren have been vaccinated. They are very passionate about not putting those pollutants in their bodies. And that really is a discussion. Like I know I'm getting hate mail right now. Someone just got on Facebook and is writing a scathing post in their ignorance. In their absolute ignorance, they are writing a scathing post, which is so sad, too bad for them. But anyway, I want to get back to this because we uncovered, and I appreciated the honesty about your father who molested your family. And that I believe that your violation was blocked. And I would also I also brought up your trust with God, and that you find it hard to trust him, and especially when your father used prayer as a way to molest his victims. Come in here, I want to pray with you.
Okay.
So I want you to know it's possible to be healed of this. And I had the hardest time trusting God too, Alicia. I did. I used to think he was a Nazi commie sucker, and everything in the world revolved around him, and that he was a dictator, and he was unreasonable, and he was a jerk. And I actually said that to him. I was on a lake, and I just spoke that out into the sky. You're such a pig. You know, everything's about you, and you want everyone to worship you. And if we don't, then you're going to strike us down. Well, strike me down now. He struck me down now with a revelation that I saw him through the eyes of a little girl who'd been molested by my father. I saw him through the scope of the man that raised me, who I found out when I was almost 18 that he wasn't my father. And he gave me a revelation that he wasn't that man. He wasn't that man. And that he wanted to heal me from the pain and the suffering I endured from that man. So I'm going to pray for you now. Father, I thank you so much for Alicia. I thank you for what was exposed today. Oh, God, you're so awesome. How that which has been concealed by the enemy, you reveal it, and you want this woman to be completely healed, set free, and delivered. God, I pray that you put her in a place where she will completely surrender to you, and that you will guide her to people that can walk her through that complete restorative healing as you guided me through that healing. And Father, I pray our paths cross one day, that I'll get the chance to maybe work with her even more in depth, maybe out of First Steps or Creating a Dynasty, where we're going to dig that sucker out so that my sister, yes, will be healthy physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, and physically. I paralyze the voices that have said to her, you're dirty, you're not lovable. I cancel those voices right now in Jesus' name. I come against every lying spirit that has talked to my sister, painting a picture that is not the picture of how her heavenly Father sees her. Holy Spirit, touch her body right now, right where she's at. In Jesus' name, amen. Alicia, there's a lot of helpful tools on our site, but I really hope you get to a Creating a Dynasty someday, because that's where we deal with these issues. It's our leadership conference. That's where we're going to dig deep down wherever those seeds have been planted. The next one's in Los Angeles, California, actually in November. Yeah, Los Angeles, November 15th. You have to be a First Steps grad in order to attend that. So I don't know what you're doing this weekend, but yeah, you might want to go check out where we are going to be and come and join us. This is Dani Johnson, An Intense Show. I know that I gave you some tips that can help you get serious about making your backside a little smaller, shrinking up that gut a little bit. It's important that we do that. We're setting an example and setting up our future. Hey, have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
Did you hear that last segment? Do you know someone else who needs to hear it? Go to DaniJohnson.com, find today's show, and share it online. This has been The Dani Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.